Here are all the NFL draft bets I currently have. We'll start off with the ones whose lines have moved, just to give you a little bit of credibility, show I know what I'm doing, and then we'll talk about the ones that you can still bet. All the screenshots will include my actual bet size, because we don't unit shame around here, brother. First one, under 6.5 wide receivers. It's the bet that I kind of like the most. I bet it at minus 240. Currently, it is minus 360 on FanDuel, minus 300 on DK. Jaden Daniels at number 2 overall. I bet it at minus 125. Now it is minus 390 on FanDuel, minus 400 on DK. And then Jonathan Brooks, I bet him first running back at plus 190. It is now minus 115 on FanDuel, minus 150 on DK. So now let's get into ones that you can realistically bet at similar odds. First one, New York Giants, first position selected, quarterback, plus 175. This bet is not available currently on FanDuel, but it is still the same odds on DraftKings. I'm of the opinion that the Giants, they just, the current regime did not select Daniel Jones. Doesn't matter what he's done in the past, he's been hurt. And I think they kind of want some new blood. I think they're best served taking maybe Neighbors, Alt, Rome, whoever they like there. But I think there is a slight possibility they pay a tiny, tiny premium to move up and take either Drake May or even JJ McCarthy. Who knows? But I think the plus odds on it is very enticing. Small bet, but I think it's worth it if you're considering, putting a little bit of money here and there on the draft. Next one, Kansas City first position, being a wide receiver, minus 110. It is currently minus 120 on FanDuel. Slightly better odds on DK than what I bet, minus 105. So that's another one if you're considering another bet. I like that a lot. Kansas City needs some firepower in the offense. I think it's more likely that, one of those fringe first-round receivers, falls to them just out of, kind of the tackle depth. A lot of the teams kind of in that later portion don't need that offensive firepower similar to the Kansas City Chiefs do. It doesn't mean that there can't be a trade-up. That's part of the reason I also bet this. I think there's a high likelihood Kansas City trades up to take Worthy, trades up to take A.D. Mitchell. Just do a slight move like that in the back half of round 1. So I like that one a lot. Next one, longest odds we've had so far. Pittsburgh Steelers, first position to be a wide receiver as well. I bet it at plus 350, plus 550. It is now plus 600 on FanDuel, plus 400 on DK. So if you're looking for something, bet it on FanDuel if you want some higher odds. This one, admittedly, don't feel as confident in, but I think if there's a run on tackles, this is a depth draft. There are a lot of tackles in this draft. They can take one in round 2. They could take an interior guy in round 2. They could trade up in early round 2, take one of the interior guys that fall out of round 1. I think if there's someone like Brian Thomas that somehow fell and is landing them on the board, I think there's a high, the Steelers are in the same position as the Chiefs. They really are lacking offensive firepower for Russ Wilson right now. We're not going to be able to get it done with just George Pickens. Okay, we need someone else. They haven't gotten Ayuk. They haven't traded for Higgins. None of that is going to happen. They haven't really brought in massive talent. Van Jefferson isn't going to be the 2 that we need. So I think there is a great possibility. Again, wide receiver is similar to tackle where there is some depth. They could fulfill it in 2-3 like how they like to do. But I think if one of those top wide receivers falls, I wouldn't be surprised, and the odds don't reflect the chances to me. Another one, JJ McCarthy, number 5 overall. I bet it at plus 550. Still 550 on FanDuel, plus 240 on DK, so a bit of a disparity there. Pretty simply, I don't think that the Cardinals trade out. I think the Cardinals are going to take Marvin Harrison because he's a generational talent. That leaves whoever wants a quarterback all looking at the Chargers at 5. And I don't think that Harbaugh cares about taking Malik Neighbors. I don't think he cares about getting an offensive weapon at that 5 spot. I think he is completely fine with trading back and getting a tackle. Trading back a couple spots, maybe even to the Giants, and then taking Joe Alt. I think there's a lot of other things that he wants to do that isn't sitting and picking. So for whoever wants to get JJ McCarthy, I think trading up to the Chargers at 5 is where it happens. So I'm going to take that plus 550 on it. Another one, Xavier Worthy, going in the first round. I bet it at minus 145. It is now minus 155 on FanDuel, minus 200 on DK. Still think the minus 155 is more than worthy of betting at. I think Worthy, with that speed, with that production, there's no way he doesn't go in the first round. Similar bet, slightly different. I bet Worthy under 29.5 at plus 102 for $10. Now, under 31.5 is minus 114. So That one, at that point, I just, who cares? Just take the small hit and bet worthy round one rather than like him going to the Chiefs at 32 and losing the bet. I personally liked the under 29.5 just because of the odds. But if now you're working at 31.5 and you don't have plus odds, I don't know. Just doesn't feel as great to me. And then last one, Brock Bowers to be a top 10 pick. I bet it at plus 145. Now plus 115 on FanDuel, plus 120 on DK. So another one, top 10 this is essentially me saying I think Bowers goes to the Jets at pick 10, but I'm going to take the insurance of if he goes earlier. A lot of new talk that I've been hearing is like, well, are you really going to take Bowers? The Jets aren't going to take a tackle. I don't know why people think that they would. You don't bring in two veteran tackles that are good, granted they have injury history, but you don't bring them in and then draft a first-round tackle. That's not what you do. On an aging quarterbacks, like Rodgers needs to win now. They are not going to be taking a tackle. If they do take a tackle, it'll be later in the draft because of the depth at the tackle position. That is not happening in the first round. I think it's far more likely they take a receiver or a tight end. I think Bowers at tight end is the most obvious choice, and the odds don't reflect that. Let me know if you like any other bets down in the comments below, and have a good one.